Hello, Stephanie
Hey,
and Axel.
it's been a while. I feel
It's
like
been a
it's been a
long,
obviously, I have the Day to Day decoration still up.
it's been a long time,
Long time.
sister.
Yeah.
Great to see you in person. Well, not in person, but your face.
Hmm.
And Axel's doing good back there.
Yep. Yeah.
Um, no disappearing acts tonight, Axel.
No, that was so funny. In 2 seconds, he disappeared last night. Something spooked him, and he just flew off this thing and went down behind the sofa.
You're like, where's my rabbit? He's not here.
I was like, where'd he go? It's like a magician. He totally disappeared.
Magical. He's a
Oh,
magical little dude.
don't be crazy now. Come on.
So since this is Axel's show, we actually let him pick the topic tonight. And he wants us to talk about letting go of idolatry. Ooh, such a good one.
That's kind of ironic since I just came off of a concert.
Ah, what concert did you come off of?
My Dylan show, my Bob Dylan. Don't mind the phone. That's just my home phone. Yeah, so it's weird though cuz it came kind of full circle. 22 years to the month where I first started seeing him because I had seen him like in the 80s, I think. Because we went to see the opening act. And I do remember, hey, it was really good. It was almost like an acoustic set. And I was like, oh, pretty good. But I was so into the punk music and the new wave that, I didn't really catch any of his shows until 2001. And then I got hooked on following. And I don't know if I want to mention the number of shows I've seen since 2001. It's
It,
not an addiction. It just turned into like this fun thing to do.
mhm.
Another friend of mine was very into him, and she knew all the people that would go to the shows. I didn't. I would just go in, catch the music, head out, go home. You know,
Mhm.
she was into more of the social scene, so she knew a lot of these people for years. And but me, it was always about the music. And over the years, it became more like, oh, whenever he's in town, I'll go catch him. And it's like catching an old friend, sharing music. I
Mhm.
I hate using the word groupie because you go to shows and you have a favorite band, but I never felt like I was like, oh my gosh, the world begins and ends with them. It's just I like the music and I would go and enjoy.
Mhm.
But there is a fine line between that and idolizing to the point where you blind yourself to everything.
Yeah, and I think, one of the things that comes up for me when I think of idolatry is just the false premise of things. Um, looking at someone we put on a pedestal, ultimately to be knocked down publicly or whatever, or even by us personally, is very distorted. And it's funny because our society has got a lot of that going on. I mean,
Mhm.
I was walking through the West Village the other day and there are all these flowers, and I'm like, what is that? And I just remembered that this character from the sitcom just died. Um, a sitcom called Friends, which is really interesting to me that, millions of people watched a story about six quote unquote friends who live together. And these are people and actors who, with their backgrounds, have probably never had a roommate in their entire life, any of them. And at the very least, they would go home after filming each episode to their $1 million homes alone. So it's just a really funny, weird thing when you think about that. I never liked the whole thing because at the time when it came out, it was annoying to me. I was young and living in New York City, and you definitely didn't have your own room. If you did have your own room and you were lucky enough to even have that, you definitely didn't have a bed you could walk around. You had several roommates because it was too expensive, and you usually
Yeah.
shared a room with someone. And you certainly didn't have a friendship circle that was only one race. I mean, we lived in New York City, for God's sakes. I had friends from all walks of life in different countries as well. But that was always just a horrible, weird thing that I blame Warner Brothers for, and HBO for all these stupid tactics that they use to separate people and not tell the truth. But again, the falsity is really what I want to get to here, because that's really the thing, is this sort of illusion of it. It's not wrong to appreciate someone's talent. It's not wrong to share it. It's certainly the spice of life that we share everything. We're amazing beings. But some of it's gone a little too far, and to the point where you lose sight of your own self. And then this other thing that sort of creates an illusion that no one else can have it unless you're privileged, unless you're lucky, or whatever it is, which is just absurd.
Or you look like Axel.
Well, basically, he's got it all. I don't know. We don't want to idolize you
I know
either,
we don't, right? Yeah.
but you are the best, dude. Animals, it's kind of a different story.
It's a different story.
But no, it's amazing.
Well, that's the thing too, because I know, like, all through his career, people are always like saying, "Oh, he's the spokesperson of this and that," and he would always characterize himself as a song and dance man. It's like everybody else was putting labels on him, and he always defied labels, you know. So, do we do that? Is it something they go out and seek, or is it just part of the package of the way the system is? Because I know movies and the movie industry and all that, there is a method to their madness, and they do things
for sure
to trick us.
But it's also like, hey, this is really, it's a combination of all those things. Like I remember watching a documentary on Bob Dylan, and I didn't like him. My sister was curious as to what I thought, and I was like, I don't like him, because he was saying he didn't care what the press said, but every morning he was going to get up and, get his cup of coffee and read what they said about him in the paper. And I was like, you do care. You're lying. Like and again, I'm not even sure that he knows that he's lying. I'm not even sure half of what people think. They lose sense of themselves. And then it's a combination of all the things, like I said.
And then this is when I told you he would always play with the press, and he would make up things, make up crazy answers to some of their insane questions. And he would call them out. If you look at Don't Look Back, he's already destroying everything here. He's trying to go after the flowers. He literally calls out this one journalist, and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm cringing because I feel bad, because he's like, obviously the guy knows nothing about him, but he's sent in to do his story, and he reamed him, and it's just like, it's like a love-hate relationship, because it's part of, the way they set things up. But I'm like, at some point you should be above that and say, I'm going to make my own rules. I don't have to tour. I don't have to do interviews. I just need to do my music, and that's it. Why can't you write that in your contract? And it's like when they sign you up and say, oh, I'm just going to do the music and call me a studio band or whatever. And it's my choice if I want to have a concert, because I like the interaction. I like to get the energy from the fans and stuff. But
I just wanted to introduce you to Peanut.
Peanut, hey.
Peanut's making a cameo. And I'm a little...
How old is?
Well, she's 15. We thought she was 17, but my friend just looked at her papers, and she's 15. So she's way younger. But I'm gonna need to feed her soon, because she's my dear kitty, and she's sweating me for food. She's looking, but we'll finish up here. But yeah, what was I gonna say?
I don't know. It's just this is 2023. You can break the rules. You can do whatever you want now. And I think going forward, that's what we're gonna do. And I think it's gonna be more about just appreciating music and art for what it is. And
yeah, absolutely. And what I was going to say is that, I just think it's a lot more insidious than we think, because that was always a question to me, like, you can make up your own rules. You've made tons of money. You're doing all these things. You can do whatever you want at this point. But the level at which these people are owned, because at that point, it becomes a machine that
Yeah.
has so much investment in you. So many people are making money off it. And
It's hard to
then
break it. Yeah.
it's not only hard to break out of it, you're responsible for other people's stuff, but also I think there's darker and more insidious things involved, as we well know at this point in history. Or if we don't know yet, we're about to find out, because there's a lot involved in that whole industry. But, you know, for practical senses and basic stuff, it is about those things too, like having the responsibility for many people's salaries or whatever it is, you know, that you're not willing to let go of. And this sort of general lack of autonomy that's basically sort of cultivated in our society. To me, it's astonishing. Like, nobody should be dependent on someone for that, you know, and no one should have to worry about that if they need to leave or make a change in their life. We need more freedom. We need more autonomy. We need more so that we can, like you said, relax and appreciate music and get back to art for what it really is about.
And to quote Dylan, not serve someone, like in his song, you know, it's like start to be a sovereign being and
Yeah.
answer to your.
And, you know, these people are not terrible. They're certainly incredibly talented. I'm never going to refute that.
It's just, it's like you're stuck. It's a means to an end. Like we all have to get a job. We have to do, and they have it set up where it's 9 to 5 and it's Monday to Friday. And it's like, you know, you have to commute. I mean, like going forward, you know, when we redesign a new earth, let's not commute and let's change the 9 to 5 thing, you know, and I don't know. There's
Oh
no,
yeah, for sure.
get rid of the rules, get rid of the rules and start over.
Yeah,
So you can be in
absolutely.
the moment and do what you want and enjoy it for what it is.
Hmm. I love it. So yeah, and that's really a personal choice we can all make right now to sort of let go of that idolatry.
Mm. And everything, because
Mhm.
even with the intel, you see, we're getting rid of the bad guys, and yet the truthers are on tour, and you see people treating them like idols again. Like, so we're trading the old set of idols for a new set. So even here, with the way things are moving forward, we're back into the old habits again. So
The definition of insanity, you know, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting something different. Like, you have to do it differently and you have to decide, you know, if you want to just keep going with the same thing, you're going to keep getting the same thing, basically. So yeah, and I never really cared too much for those things. I was not a person who looked upon famous people as anything special.
Mhm.
You know, I might get a little excited and interested if it was someone I liked, um, but mostly that's about it. But even now, it's like really realizing that that's so important to sort of check yourself on and pull away from, pull down. You know, that truly none of us are different. Truly, no one is more than another. We're definitely incredibly different, and that's what makes it so amazing.
And
Because
everybody
many,
has in different areas too. So
exactly, and many people are going to have things I don't have, and I'm going to have many things that other people don't have. And that's just the beauty of life, because it's when we come together, we grow. That's been so prevented by this idolatry mentality too. People are not allowed to express their talents. They get inhibited by them. And
they
then we
get
don't,
judged, like on American Idol, they get judged by
things like
like
that. But we also, then
you
we
have,
end up not sharing them.
yeah, and you have to fit a certain formula
Right.
or you get the record deal. And I'm like, really?
It's so terrible because, you know, that's such a preventative thing for human beings to share their gifts and talents. Like, you can learn more from the people that are generally like right around you than anyone in the world. So it's pretty amazing. Yeah. By design. Again, if
Yeah.
you don't know it, you'll know at some point, but it is definitely by design in many aspects. And
This,
really it's just about making a lot of money. Many times that's part of that.
this guy, Jason Christoff, he delves into a lot of these topics and how we've been set up in the system, and how you don't even realize that you're just kind of born into it, and you have to do things a certain way, and it's because that's just the way it's always been done.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
that we have to break out of that, because yeah, it's like being stuck in the matrix thing.
Yep. Well, I'm gonna go feed this kitty.
Okay. And
Axel, what are you eating tonight,
oh, he's
bunny
got
boy?
a
I love you. You're the cutest.
and on that note, just wherever you go, just send out your light and love.
Wherever you go, there you are. And
Yeah.
we do that
And
naturally. So it's pretty
yeah.
cool times for all this good stuff. So yeah. And then just put away the people
Rule book.
worship. Put away the people worship.
The
Put
people
away the
were.
rule book. We
And
need to
that's good.
stop that. It's really
Yeah,
annoying. And if there's
that's
someone you admire, just remember they're just like you. They may have streamlined talents that are more excelled than yours are in certain areas, but that's how we learn from each other. But it doesn't mean they're better. It doesn't, and we definitely don't need to do that thing anymore, because we need to be more honest. If you're famous and you piss me off, you're gonna know it.
oh yeah.
I'm not gonna not tell you that.
I'll call you out on whatever that you're doing that's not right.
Yeah, so I think it's good, and I look forward to seeing that sort of dissipate and disappear in our world. And what I look forward to most of all in that is seeing art blossom in a way that I don't think any of us have ever been able to imagine, because we've been stuck in this thing that was, only given to a few people, choice few. And we haven't been able to see the development and expansion of our creativity at the level that we may be on the brink of seeing right now. That's exciting to me.
Yeah.
And that's why we call our show Reimagine.
Yeah.
Because it's all about
Everything.
reimagining a new way of doing a lot of things. So cool.
And when those 6,000 patents come out, our minds will be blown.
Bring it on. All right. I love you. And I love you, Axel.
He loves you too. And we love Peanut.
I know she's ready for dinner. I'm gonna go.
Stand by the food bowl.
She, she's
Yeah.
ready. I'm gonna go take care of her. All right. Talk to you guys soon. It was great to see you. Bye.